Today I'm going to show you guys how to set up launch control, two-step and flat shifting on your stratified plug-and-play Megasquirt ECU. It's basically going to work by getting power from the switch for your clutch so that the ECU can set some limits. It's going to set a spark or a fuel cut at whatever RPM when the clutch is in. First, you're going to start by taking off the top of your ECU housing. You're going to undo the Phillips head screws on each of the four corners on the top and pull it up. With the top removed, you will be able to see the circuit boards, and most importantly, you'll be able to see your accessory section. This is the way they made it easy. You can just put in the wires and put them in through that little grommet, and this is a bunch of accessory things there, and then you're going to move a little jumper pin. So you can use the SW2 or SW1 in ports, and you're going to put the wire in this little thing, just like I've got these, and they're little tiny flathead screws. You guys can't really see there, but little tiny flathead screws there, so you're going to need a tiny screwdriver. And you're going to unscrew that, and it's going to move that little bar, and you're going to put your stripped wire in, move it back to tighten it down. I'm going to use SW2 because the SW1 seems to have some kind of weirdness going on with it, which I don't trust, don't want to mess with. So SW2 is going to be. So with that in place and tightened down, next we're going to have to find the little jumper boot for it, and we're going to switch that over. Next you're going to use one of these two pins. The first one is, as you can see, SW1 out, the second one is SW2 out. Jumpers J5 and J6. For SW2, you're going to use the Spratica 2 one, which is this one. You want to make sure it is in position 1, which it is in already. I don't know if y'all can see, but you want it to be just like that. Now you're going to put the top back on your ECU, and we are done with the wiring inside of the ECU. Next we have to wire it to the clutch switch in the car and set up the tune on the computer. So the clutch pedal is what you're going to be using to actually tell the Megasquirt when to activate the rev limiter that counts as the two-step. The MX6 has two clutch position switches. One is a neutral safety switch, and that is when the clutch is all the way pushed down. That switch is now active. That's the one that you have to push in to start the car. That happens when the clutch is fully disengaged and you're effectively taking the car out of gear. The second clutch switch is the one that turns off the cruise control when you're using it and you're cruising in gear, and you want to turn off the cruise control without having to actually take the car all the way out of gear. And that you just have to push the pedal in a little bit. The clutch stays engaged during that whole thing, so you'll still be in gear. You just are able to activate that clutch switch right there. You can use either one of these clutch switches for the Megasquirt. Basically what's going to happen is when that clutch switch is active, the Megasquirt's going to know, because the wire you're going to run to it, and when that clutch switch is active, it will install or activate a rev limiter at whatever limit you put it at. So if you put it at that one, whenever the clutch is there, you can't go past 4K. When you let it out, it'll let you go wide open throttle. And then if you use the other one, when the clutch is pushed in that far, it'll let you only go to 4K. Well, actually, when it's pushed that far or farther, it'll only let you go to 4K. And then when you let it out all the way out there, it'll let you go full throttle. I am using the cruise control clutch switch, which is located at the top of the clutch pedal, just out of personal preference, because you can use that as sort of a rolling launch control tool, where you can be going down the highway at 40 miles an hour, and then you just push in the clutch just that far. Just the pedal's pushed in, but the clutch is unaffected, the car's still in gear, and now you've got a 4K rev limiter, so you can floor it only up to 4K. So you're holding it at 4K right now, and then when you let go of that clutch thing, the car will take off. It'll get rid of that rev limiter, and you can use all your RPMs. That, as opposed to if you wanted to do that with using the other clutch switch, your foot would be all the way in, you got a rev limiter, you'd be there, but you'd also be decelerating, and then as soon as you did that, it would it'll get rid of the rev limiter for you, but at that point you'd have to actually, the clutch would be engaging and grabbing gears and stuff, which is good from a stop, but I'm using the first switch. You can use either one, but I'm just going to use that one out of personal preference. So I can use it for two-stepping from a stop or from a roll. I don't know how well that'll work, but I hear that people do it. In order to test which one of the wires on my cruise control switch is the ground and which one goes to the ECU, which one's constant ground, I am putting a wire in the plug. This one's in the green and yellow, and I've made a little indicator light, and I'm going to plug that into some power, and if that side is constant ground without the pedal depressed, it should light up. If it's not, then it's the switch screw. Putting the keys in. Okay, it turned on for a second. Well, duh, because it wasn't plugged into the switch. There's nothing to stop it from. There's nothing to stop it from coming on. So, if I switch this wire, blue one, into the other terminal thing, then it should light up. And there we go. That is on, which means that the one I did not choose, so the black wire is constant ground, which means I need to tap the green wire which is after the switch. You need to tap that for the two-step. This is a wire splice. You can use it to put a wire that's going inline and splice a second wire onto it. You take the one wire that you're trying to intercept through there, and you put your second wire into the side. And then when you go to crimp that down, it pushes this little metal thing basically through both the wires, locking them into place. I don't know if y'all can see it, but it's got two little bars to go through, and it you clip that, and then you close over this. I'm trying to do it with one hand. You close that over, and it locks over in place, and that is a way to connect a wire to an existing wire. So that's what I'm going to use for my clutch switch. So here it is. You can see the red wire is going through, ready to get crimped in. And the other one is also ready, so I'm just going to get some vice grips and squeeze that metal piece through, and then clip that part over there, and we will be done. So there you can see that is wired into the green wire on the clutch switch and is ready to be run to the Megasquirt unit. It's going to be run up in there. It's that little red dot you can see over there, up along there and into that crank. Just going to go down inside there and attach your Megasquirt, just like the wideband sensor wire is. Next, from your tuner studio, you're going to go under extended. You're going to go down to launch control, and you're going to set your input. If you picked SW2, you're going to use JS4. If you picked the SW1, you're going to use PE1. So I've got that one. So next, once you've selected the pin that you put in for your wire, you're going to choose what RPM you want your two-step to be at. I've got mine set to have a hard spark cut at around 4,000 RPMs. That's my settings. I'll play around with them a little bit more once I got the car working right. You can also control your flat shifting here by doing the same thing, messing with your arming and flat shift mode and stuff like that. But once you've got that, go ahead and burn it to the ECU.